It's very good to be with all of you today. My name is David Henstrom. I'm the CEO of Unibio. And I want to start out with a little bit of extra time here, give a little bit of an origin story on myself. So I spent almost 27 years with Cargill, a large food and ag company, before I saw this opportunity at Unibio present itself. And what intrigued me about this was some of the biggest challenges that the food and feed area faces is the use of agricultural land and how the oceans are capped on how much fish meal and fish can be produced. So that's what intrigued me to pull the ripcord, leave Minneapolis, where I'd been for many, many years, move to Copenhagen, and start leading this company. So we're about producing sustainable protein on a global scale. Next. Perfect. So we produce a single-cell protein that is a competitive and meaningful alternative to other protein sources, either from land or from the oceans. We have a technology that's been developed at both the lab scale through the pilot to demonstration, and we have the first commercial scale plant using our technology operating today. We have 16 patent families with over 120 patents that have been issued. We have the ability with capital and time to unlimitedly scale this technology out. We're going after multiple channels, both in the feed area and ultimately in the food area, as going through pet into food. And we have a strategy to roll this technology out globally in places that heretofore have been highly food and feed insecure geographies. So this starts with something, if you've seen some of the other presentations in this area, with the tremendous demand for food which is emerging in the world today. So 10 billion people in the next 25 years. And what is more impressive is the growth in GDP per capita in developing countries that is driving the consumption of meat products away from the grains. And that's typically what happens on that process. What we have the opportunity to do is to help fill that gap for protein while we also hit some of the significant UN SDGs. For example, zero hunger. We have the opportunity in feed and food insecure territories to bring our technology. It also can develop jobs in regions where these are demanded. In terms of below water, we allow fish meal not to press our oceans by taking that pressure away and putting it on the last goal, life on land, to use no arable land in our production process. So at the most simple level, when you step back and think about this, we are scaling down the way we look at how we're getting to protein, taking a microorganism that was originally found in a lake in Bath, England, that we've isolated, that was taking the methane that was offset by deciduous materials that would decay, uptaking that, it's called a methanotrope, consuming that with oxygen, with minerals and nitrogen that's in the water, and producing a proteinaceous microorganism. That then grew and was ultimately eaten through the food chain by fish in lakes. All we've done is taken that from the water, and put that in a manufacturing facility to generate that. So you can take this to a place that has no arable land, which we are doing in the Middle East today. The first commercial scale plant is modularly designed, which enables us to scale this out in increments. We are able to achieve economies of scale at this modular area to hit the feed markets. A lot of people who've gone after this are unable to get the techno-economics to work at the feed level. The production stability that we can get with our process, which has been a very big focus of ours, allows us to commit to long-term supply, which we have 2 offtake agreements, over 30,000 tons committed today. And we are able to go into multiple product applications. So some of the segment challenges we're dealing with, I mentioned a couple of these, but I'll dive a little bit deeper. Over the last 35 years, fish meal production has been constrained at 5 to 6 million tons globally. There's no ability to expand that ability. As a matter of fact, last summer, Peru canceled their fish harvest because they didn't have enough larger fish to allow the boats to go out and catch. So that brings volatility. There's also variation in source and quality depending upon the weather and depending upon systemic things that are happening around the production, both on land and in the sea. Soy supply is falling short. Issue there is land conversion in the Cerrado or deforestation that is pressing the Amazon. There's challenges in producing more soy at scale. And then there's a massive, as I alluded to, a massive growth in demand being driven by middle-class GDP per capita increase. What we have is the ability to deliver unconstrained supply at pricing which can match up with the feed and the pet food areas, get global access to our ingredient. We have a product which measures up versus fish meal very, very well, and I'll talk about that on the next slide. And then enter into long-term contract pricing where we have a lot of volatility with current commodities in the market. We can commit to long-term pricing. And the first areas we're going after are aqua feed, pet food, and starter feeds. We show pig up here as one of the starter feeds. The whole market is $460 billion for compound feed. We're going after a subsegment of that, a 60 billion, roughly 30 million ton market for protein that is comprised in these three segments. So getting a little bit more defined on two of the incumbents that we measure ourselves up against, fish meal and soy. First, on price attraction, as I mentioned, we have the ability to deliver stable source of supply, stable price, to our customers, which is important. It's also very sustainable. It's non-GMO, doesn't have pesticides, herbicides, doesn't have heavy metals contained in it, and our customers really appreciate that. The nutritional quality of our product, 8 of the 11 amino acids in our product are equal to or greater than that found in fish meal. And that's a big deal. It's a concentrated protein greater than 70%, and that's what our customers really appreciate. We have stable supply, as I mentioned, and scalability is available. The way we're going after demand today and going after the market on revenue are two ways. I'll start with the bottom first, technology license. That's where we started out, where we receive licensing fees to use our technology and then royalties over time for how much product is produced. And this helps us manage the geographic exposure that we have in places where we might not want to form a joint venture but have a technology license and still realize the royalty income. On the top is where our real head is going, is to joint ventures, where we're looking at direct investment partnerships with parties that have the same passion that we have. And we also share in the production output of those facilities and have the go-to-market to sell to the aquaculture and into the animal feed markets. And again, I mentioned supply agreements with key participants in the target global markets that we're going after. Last year, we were fortunate in raising $70 million from a Saudi company, the Saudi Industrial Investment Group. That was $70 million added on top of $50 million, which had been raised prior to that over 5 tranches. So it was the largest single raise for the company and has funded us very, very well. We're jointly assessing with that company in Saudi Arabia a project. So they're a strategic financial investor. They're a 25-year joint venture partner with one of the largest petrochemical companies in the world. One of the unique opportunities about Saudi Arabia is they have a goal of taking the 40,000 tons of aquaculture, which is done today, and growing that to over 600,000 tons. And that provides a ton of local demand opportunity. So we're going from a time of scarcity to abundance with our technology. We're commercializing a market-leading technology, the first in the world to commercialize this technology. Deploying with partners that have the same passion that we have and strategy for responsible food security, and improving the world that nurtures us one molecule at a time. So that's so I will invite you to a little bit of a deeper dive if you have questions, and that'll be at 1600 on the beach stage. So thank you very much.